And I'm
Okay.
also,
I just wanna make sure before.
she wants anybody who comes up and speaks to, for me to text their name to her, just so she knows who's speaking.
Okay.
Especially when we come to the public.
Right.
Okay. All right, Fire Department, Chief Lacy.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Chief.
How's it going? I think Sissy submitted you guys a report. So if we start out on page 2, you're gonna see that we had 11 runs inside the township. We had 1 fire runs, that is. 1 run in Addiston, 9 in Cleves, 2 in North Bend, 14 mutual aid. 10 of those were canceled en route. That was the fire details. EMS details inside the township, we had 90, 8 in Addiston, 28 in Cleves, 14 in North Bend, and we gave mutual aid out 7 times for the month. So we had 23 total fire details and 147 EMS details. We broke those down for you on page 3 and 4, so you can see what we went through. The report looks a little different tonight. The reason being is we had some issues with the communication center where we get a lot of our data from. For some reason, their runs didn't match up with ours. They had some software issues, so it took them a while to figure that out. Sean Cruz, who does that for him, was on vacation, so he just got back. So I didn't get the data in there by the time he got back. So the report looks a little different tonight. Training, you can see unit 1 did 20 and a half hours of training. Unit 2 did 33 3/4, and unit 3 did 25 and a half. So total training hours for the month was 79 3/4. The topics included, we had Christ Cath Lab come out and go over the activation, hypovolemic shock, new PD bags that we put out, and then we also had UC Air Care come out. We had the coroner's lab, or coroner's crime lab, come out, and they did a presentation on scene restoration and what to do if we come across a dead body or a fire that might possibly be arson. So the coroners did a really good job. It was a really good training, very interesting. The crews really liked it. We also did the unmanned aircraft, the visual observer training. And I'd like to thank Mr. Burkholz. He did come up and did a story on it. It was a fantastic story. The crews really appreciated that. So thanks for that. Fire investigations. We had one on 2nd Street in Addiston. It was ruled accidental. It was closed. We had 3 in Cleves. One of those remains open. It's still under investigation. We had to send a special request to the insurance company from the homeowner to get some of their information. So that one's still open. We're still working on that one. We did 2 car seat checks. We actually had a lot of public events. As Lieutenant Downey reported, we went down to Miami Port Safety Day. We took the employees for the power plant. The employees are allowed to bring their children, grandchildren in. So they like to go through the fire trucks. We had our safety trailer set up, the smokehouse set up. And I think they said they had about 50 kids go through that. So it was a good PR detail. We added some pictures in there of the air care training we had. We brought air care out, landed air care, so that, we work with them. We go over a lot of trauma assessments with those folks. We put some pictures of that in there. The patient feedback, you can see the patient feedbacks. We're still doing those. Those kind of speak for themselves. The guy, our crews just keep knocking it out of the ballpark with the patient feedback. And I think they just do a really good job, and I appreciate all their efforts. There was far as inspections go, I did want to bring that up too. We did 8 inspections in Cleves, 5 re-inspections, 3 initial inspections in Addison, 9 initials in North Bend, 13 in the township with 3 re-inspections. They come across a whole array of different things that need to be reported on, and the crews will follow up with those to make sure that those are corrected. I just wanted to say one last thing. We've got a couple of budget items that we need to work on. One of those being PPE for the crews. We put it in the budget. The numbers that we budgeted, the cost, like everything else, has went up. So it's the gear came in about $100 over what we estimated in our budget. So, and I budgeted 19 sets to start replacing for the crews. So
Is that $100 per set?
$100 per set, yes, sir. Yeah.
So we're looking at.
Can you use the COVID money for that, Cindy?
Yeah, he's talking about the turnout gear?
Yeah.
Yeah, because, that could be used, if that's what you guys want to use it for, we can.
Well, the thing about using that is it's got a time limit, whereas
Exactly.
the
That's
TIF
what
doesn't have a
we
time
want.
limit.
We could use it for that grant.
Okay.
We're on talking $1,900, right?
Yeah, it's just unforeseen with everything, cost.
We can use it for that.
Yeah.
I was under the impression we can use one, so what are you asking us to approve now?
Yeah, if you approve the 19 sets, and we can go ahead and move forward.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve it out of the COVID money.
Second?
All right, who was the company?
It was, Mr. Renninger made the motion.
No, who is the,
It's a 9/11 fleet and fire. 911 fleet and fire.
right, and what was the total cost?
It's $3,100 a set times 19 sets. I didn't have up
Okay, thank you.
I've got the invoice, Cindy, or a quote from them. I'll send that over to you.
Yeah, just put it in my box and I'll do a PO on Sunday.
Okay. One last thing I'd like. Oh,
Well, let me do them, Mr. Reiniger,
Yes?
Mr. Blanton,
Yes.
Mr. Robinson.
Yes.
Okay, Chief.
As you know, the other night, we had a pretty significant storm come through the township. I can't even say how many calls we ended up logging. We had so many calls. We had trees down, we had a tree on a car, a tree on a garage, a tree across the roadway. We had streets completely blocked, and of course, when the storms move through, all the crews are busy. So the county crews are busy, we're busy, the police are busy. Jim Hughes and Dan Reed both came up. I asked the county to open up what's called the storm desk, which allows them to move a dispatcher over to handle just the storm. And I think you guys remember how many other departments ended up using it? There was quite a few. I think there were 12 or
So
13
at
other
least,
departments.
there was more than 10.
Yeah, started using it. So we initiated that here at Miami Township and opened that up, and our crews started, doing whatever they could do, opening roads, answering calls, and they really worked their butts off. And they did an absolutely fantastic job. But Jimmy called me right away and he said, sounds like it's getting chaotic, I'm on my way up. Next thing I know, I looked up, Dan was there, and we were
Basically dispatcher.
yeah, we kind of did a little bit of everything. And I just, thank both of you guys, because you guys were really both tremendous help to me. I really appreciate it. Everybody, the gentleman in the car in front of your residence was injured. We transported him to the hospital. Like I said, it took a lot of work to get everything open and going again, contacting Duke Energy and just anything and everything we could do to, for the citizens. So, they did a really good job.
Chief, let me comment on that. It was just amazing to watch everything. Because I went out after the storm moved through and watched our fire department, and it was the tree on Bridgetown Road by Peterman's, I'm sure everybody's aware of. fell on the car, which they did a great job, just a great job. I'm sure they did a great job in other places too, but this in particular they had already gotten him out of the car when we got out there, so we let the storm move through, which was smart. But anyway, they worked and worked. It was really, really proud to see and watch. They did a great job on it. They got the road open, and then our neighbor of ours came down the street, and I didn't know it, but there was a tree down up by Durango. They were working on that, getting that clear, and he was stuck, and we were stuck in between there, and we were trying to get out too. But anyway, long story short, I think the fire department did just an absolute wonderful job. And I have my 2 grandsons with me. This is 2 hours later. I took them home. They live in Green Township. I was coming back. There was a car slid off the road. I don't know the details in it. Our fire department's there. Jim, you were there. And right before Jeanette Way. And everybody knows where that is. And it was down the hill, and they were back on another call after they were just out of call for 2 hours. So it was pretty incredible night for them. They did a great job. So.
Yeah, they did.
So I just wanted to state that and pass that along to them if you would.
Okay.
From all of us, I'm sure Mike and Jack feel the same way.
We've been super busy. There was one last thing I think we need to mention, just because it's coming up rather quickly. I invited Dan and Chief Hughes to come up, and we took place in a planning meeting for the fireworks. It's gonna take place at Crossroads. Just so everybody knows, that's gonna be on June the 25th. I think they're opening everything up at 11 o'clock for people to start coming in. It's a really large event. There's usually around 10,000 folks there. And a couple years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, I started doing the event planning with them. We kind of go through the NIMS system to lay everything out, start documentation. So we've got everything laid out, everything from if we've got a lost child to, if we had an active shooter, if we had whatever, we've got a plan in place for it. And there was probably 10 of us probably met, just to start planning everything out for that event. It's a huge event. It's a lot of working pieces, but it's a good event. We've done it for several years now, and I don't think we've ever had an incident or a situation down there. So, if you're available on the 25th, on Saturday, I would, come out to the fireworks at Crossroads Church. It's a good event here. They're gonna have the menus, which I don't know who the menus are. Dan seemed to know who they were. Jimmy knew who they were, so I'm guessing they're more, maybe, I don't know.
They've been around for a long time.
So, if you're around, you come out to that event, I think it'd be good. Fire department will be there, we're gonna be well represented.
So what do we have there, Chief?
We'll have, they're gonna have, as far as the deputies go, I think Lieutenant Downing can probably tell you better, I think they're having 6 deputies total.
Right.
We'll have an engine company and a squad crew there. We set a command post up. We kind of run command for the thing. Since it's a firework event, we signed the permit for it. We kind of help, run the incident command module of it. And you guys, Jimmy, I don't know, Dan, either one of you guys have anything you want to add to that? You guys were in the meeting. One thing I would like to say is they have, there's a software program called Rave.
Yeah.
So as you're going into the event, you'll see a number to text. You can text, and then they'll give you any live updates. So if there's like a storm issue, if there's a lost child, whatever it may be, you'll get an alert on your phone, and it's only for that event. Once that event's over, it goes away. All the information is canceled out. So just if you do plan on coming out to that, I would make sure that you're looking for that text. So you can get any information that's coming out. Dan, I didn't mean to cut you guys off. If you have anything you want to add to that.
You got a lot.
I mean, it's just, the planning was impeccable. I was glad to see the increase of 2 deputies this year, to add to their, on ground, they have also their own on ground security. And it was a very impressive meeting to attend. I can also say this, the chief and Jimmy were extremely well prepared for the meeting and what was needed. And I don't just want to dovetail on that, chief, that your guys went above and beyond in that storm. I mean, that's a God's honest truth.
100%.
And they opened roads that I don't even know would be open today. But they were right on it and right there. And I think it was by the next morning, I went running around the township and I was texting the chief, you know, this place is open and that place is open and all the cones he had run over on Cliff Road. But yeah, they just, I mean, I can honestly say I've been in EOCs before. I was impressed.
No, they did a great job, great job. Any questions for the chief? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just, not about these, but you were talking about the grant
Yes,
that
sir.
the fire department filed with the state of Ohio. I know the trustees probably have copies of that. Could you maybe give us some highlights as to what those components would be and why you felt they were necessary?
You know, that's a good point, and I'll defer most of that to Dan. Dan did all the work on it. You know, Dan asked me to support him with numbers, so I'll turn most of that over to Dan. The only thing I would like to say is, and I gotta be perfectly transparent about it, the fire service is in, the whole fire service as a whole, especially in the Hamilton County region, southwest Ohio, is in a situation like I've never seen it before. People aren't really interested, it seems like, in being firefighters anymore, because it's, especially with COVID, I think that kind of turned a lot of people off. The city, I know I've said this for meetings, I know you guys know I've been saying this for probably a year or 2 years. There's such a need for firefighters that we are seriously struggling. We don't, it's really hard, especially to hire, because there's so many offers out there. One of the things that Dan pointed out in the grant, that he sent it over to me, and I honestly just got a chance to read the whole thing today. And it was a good job, Dan. Thank you for what you're doing. One of the things that's in there is that the township, as far as wages are concerned, we're in the lower third of the county in wages. I think that might be one of the reasons why we're struggling. This grant will help with that now, with, you know, offering some bonuses. But like I said, being transparent, I'm a pretty transparent person. The only thing that's gonna fix that long term is to raise our fire levy and be able to offer our folks better wages. I know nobody wants to hear that. I don't like hearing it myself. I live in, you know, Green Township. I don't live in Miami Township. The budget for Green Township Fire Department's about 7 times more than mine is.
But they got 58,000 people, right?
Yes, and we do have a lot less people. And it's, you know, it's just, that's who we're competing with. That's our neighbors. And it's hard to compete with those folks for wages. The last people that we had leave the department, I gave those resignation letters to Mr. Reniger, because I don't really believe in exit interviews. I don't think they're real useful. I think if a person had a good experience, you're gonna have a good exit interview. If they have a bad experience, they're gonna have a bad exit interview. But the last 3 that left us, all went to big city departments. One went to Dayton, the other 2 went to the city of Cincinnati. The one boy, since he left us last November, has worked 480 hours of overtime. It's kind of hard to compete with those guys making that kind of money. And so salaries might not just fix all of it either. But I think it's a start. I think it'll help. If that wasn't the case, I wouldn't suggest it.
We've had some people leave because their family worked at another fire department. I did ask the chief for exit interviews, which he said he doesn't do it. I got 2 of them. Neither one of them mentioned money. So, and there's probably a lot of reasons they leave. And I think Brian's corrected a lot of those reasons since he's been here the last 1.5 years, 2 years. But, I think it's gonna be interesting. We gave a COVID bonus, took money out of COVID fund and gave a bonus, still had people leave. I'm not sure money's gonna be the motivator in the long term. We pay their insurance, $1,600 a month, plus their deductible, another $7,000 a year for a family. We pay that, comes out around $26,000 additional. I'm not sure everybody does that.
Could I ask a question about that?
Sure.
What about, I mean, have you guys looked at a formal study where you are taking a look at every single township department, taking a look at what the pay is, what the benefits are, what the costs are, and then also take a look at how those townships, as far as their per capita income is concerned, and compare those types of things as far as, just so you get a, I understand what you're saying, but money has to be part of the motivator.
Absolutely, but it's
Yeah.
not sustainer. It won't sustain over a long haul once you get the money.
Yeah, so I'm just
I mean,
wondering,
how many shifts we have going empty? How many shifts we have going empty? Quite a few?
It's usually in your report, it's not
Okay.
there that this month.
Okay, you take that number of shifts, guys could be working and making more money, if that's really the motivator. You see what I mean?
well, yeah, yes and no.
Yeah, you wanna make the money without working the overtime, which is what we all do when we work. When I worked at the golf world, that's what we did. You know, you'd wanna make the most money and not have to work overtime whenever you are. This could be interesting to see where it goes, and, find out if he gets this grant.
So, to answer part of your question, Mr. Burkholz, the chief of Milford, through the Hamilton County Chiefs Association, they put together a packet of what all the fire departments pay and what their benefit packages are. And, you know, it's an Excel document that's quite lengthy. There's all the departments within Hamilton County are listed, most of them, not all of them. There's departments from Warren County and Butler County in there as well, to kind of give you a regional aspect of that. You know, I'd be more than happy to share that document with you, or if Mr. Reniger has it already, or with anybody else as far as that goes.
So you can, oh, sorry, go
Oh,
ahead.
no,
It's your
okay.
floor, go ahead.
I was just gonna, as I'm sitting here thinking about this, whenever you have somebody leave, there's the cost of fitting that fireman, retraining that individual. There's a lot of costs involved when you lose firefighters or policemen or anything like that at all. So that always has to be factored in some way when you're taking a look at planning of what you're going to do to retain. I disagree with you a little bit on the exit interview. I think you can always learn something from an exit interview, and that, yeah, they might have a bad experience, but maybe you need to hear that too. I don't know what the letter said.
It's a learning time. When you get the next interview, I always thought, I worked at golf and I worked at other places. And the exit interviews that we conducted, you learn.
You can learn a lot from an exit
People
interview.
are more honest and upfront. They're better than evaluation, because evaluation is now, right now, and I'm gonna get another one in 6 more months. So I gotta watch what I say. But if you're leaving, you can be a little bit more honest than an evaluation.
And if you put it in writing, you wind up burning a bridge you may not
That's
want to
right.
burn,
That's
and there's a
exactly right.
record of it. Yes, I understand that. I'm just concerned from a standpoint of where the future holds. I mean, I understand what incentive grants are designed to do, and I applaud you guys for doing that. I still think the public needs to know maybe what is in there and why you felt that was important, and I haven't heard that.
I'll defer that, to Dan.
Oh, I mean, anybody who wants a copy, it's a public record, it's been submitted, to the state. I would be more than happy to provide anybody who wants a copy of it, to see what we did. Well, my motivation on this is to help the chief in an immediate need, one, and two, to show what this grant, if you look at, and you can see it in justification, to show all our firefighters that we appreciate what they've been through the last, which is what really it's based on, what they've been through since 2020. And I just thought it was a great opportunity to show that appreciation, and police departments can put in for it, and EMS as well. I mean, it's $70 million, and I'm sure there's 70 million departments that are trying to get their piece of the pie, so I don't know what our award is going to be. But I hope that what I have written and what I have sent to the state is motivation for them to help us out and help retain. And it's more about, it's also about recruitment. And those of you that have been in the private sector, how many private companies are offering sign-on bonuses? I mean, you can even get one at McDonald's, I think. So the bottom line is, if we're gonna compete, let's do the best we can to do it with an eye, as you said, on future planning. I mean, I've only been here 2 months, and I'm sure that, you know, it's one of those things, at some point, the trustees will direct me to look into, and Ms. Ozer and I have also gone through the 5-year projections, and she did an unbelievable job with that, where I could look at it and understand it, you know, and how the line items came up and where each fund was, and all that, and it was, I mean, it was great, and she wrote her personal notes on there that to help me through it, and where we stood on every single one of our levies, and then, you know, inside millage versus outside millage, and all of those things. And I know we've got challenges coming. We all know what those are with Miami Fort.
You're right, I ain't gonna bring it up tonight.
Right. At Miami Fort, and their scale back, I mean, they've already closed, I believe, Moscow, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
And I know what it did to the village of New Richmond, out there and the surrounding areas. So, you know, it's something we have to plan for, and I think it's something that the board and myself and the fire chief and the department heads will sit down and look at, and Ms. Ozer, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to leave her out, obviously, but
It's all
look,
right.
but to look at where we are headed. And I think that is important, to answer your question, Chuck, and to get a plan out to the residents. This is what we're gonna do, and this is where we need to go, and be, as the chief said, as transparent as possible with everybody. I don't believe in doing anything, you know, secretively at all when it comes to the taxpayers and what they'll be doing in the future. And I said this earlier, I think I said it to the chief, and I might have even said it to Mr. Renninger. People are moving into our township in droves, and there's a reason for it. It's because of the services, it's because of the parks, it's because of everything that we do. And they're coming in because we have both the rural feel, where.
You can actually breathe out here.
Right, yeah, where, you know, where he lives off of Dugan Gap, but you also have the city atmosphere here.
And it's second lowest taxes in Hamilton
There
County.
you go. And another good point.
Whatever township, Florida.
All right. Sir, did you have a question?
No, he answered it. I was gonna say something about the firemen leaving. They left 3 departments, those departments, they left because of money. Because those are high-paying departments. It's everywhere. You know, I work for a big company, and it's hard to find people right now when you're not paying $15 to $20 an hour. I don't know what they pay there, but I would say get a comparison to departments in areas of your size. You can't compare yourself to Green, right? I moved out of Green. I love Green, but I love over here more. I patrolled over here for 10 years.
I think we
So-
also need to have a contingency plan, because the same thing can happen to this township. It happened to Cleves when they didn't pass any levies. When that happens, we need to have a contingency, or you're gonna have to work on would be 3 mills a month, which is your inside millage.
One last thing to finish Mr. Burkhorst's comment or question is, that I'd like to add is this grant's not a matching grant. We don't have to come up with any money, we don't have to match any money. It's 100%, you know, money that we can get with not having to do anything above and beyond. So, you know, I think it's a good resource for us now. It's a quick fix, just plugging a hole.
Well,
I think we need to do
that's why the
it.
state offered it.
Right.
That's why they offered it, and that's why they put it up to all the townships in the state of Ohio. And like Dan said, it's $70 million that they're offering to the fire departments to help with this, so All right,
I'd
any more?
just like to, thank Mr. Reed for his work and taking the initiative to apply for that grant, and then the chief supporting it, and looking out for your department.
Yeah, 100%. Any more questions for the chief? All right, thank you, chief.